Transurfer and the Transurfing Curious. My name is Renee Garcia, guys, and this is TransurfingTV. And today on TransurfingTV, one of these lessons that's just kind of like a declaration to reality, to the environment, to the people in your life, to things like the media and social media. Just like, no, I don't have to do that. I don't have to do what you want me to do because your ultimate intention is to convince that I must do something for the sake of the collective, right? We hear this term a lot these days, the collective, humanity, you know, and really from my humble opinion about it, when you hear something like that, you must do something for the collective, or you must adopt a certain perspective because it's good for the collective. This is the pendulum's call for you to adhere to an external script that you did not choose. So one of the things that I like to say when it comes to sales or buying something is that you seek out what you want. Don't ever buy anything that somebody is trying to sell to you, right? Don't ever buy a product from somebody that comes and knocks on your door or somebody that sends you an email, right? You seek out the things that you want to adopt, that you want to buy, that you want to adhere to if it's a script. So the first part of this lesson is about acknowledging, is it serving the good of the whole? And has it been solicited to me? Or have I chosen this script, this variation of reality, because it serves me? Now, maybe inadvertently, like me doing these videos, inadvertently, it serves a lot of other people. This is a script I've chosen. Nobody's compelling me to do this or soliciting me to do this. This is something that I've chosen, and it serves me. It serves my intentions. I'm doing this because it's in line with my heart and mind coordination, and I can be effective in influencing the collective in a positive way, but I'm not guilted into doing so. See the difference? There's a lot more power in you choosing what you're gonna buy rather than somebody selling something to you, right? And definitely, oh, we're a collective and we need to think collectively. That's just a nice way of saying adhere to our script or something's wrong with you. So I'm going to break this all down for you guys from my perspective before I get started. Remember to like this video, comment, and subscribe, s'il vous plaît. And join us on the International Transurfing Institute Facebook group, Reality_Transurfing and Tufty 2.0 and Reality 2.0. Extensive courses on Teachable. Check them out. All the proceeds go to supporting what we do here at ITI. So enough of that. We ain't a collective. You know, Josh Trent, one of the gracious podcast hosts that had me on, made a statement about this, about something about the collective, you know, evolution of the collective or something like that. And when I hear things like this, I just sort of shudder inside. I'm like, all I can feel is script, right? All I can feel is like, I'm being infected with script. And I hear this sort of stuff and I'm like, okay, we ain't a collective. We ain't a collective. I mean, you can be part of the collective if you want, but then again, your thoughts and your actions are not your own. You are essentially puppeted by the pendulum telling you what you need to do to serve the pendulum's intentions, right? You are on puppet strings. So it always appears at first that there's some gain when you join a collective. You're like, I'm a part of something. I'm doing good for the world. I'm doing the right thing, right? Or you're making moves in a progressive manner that you feel good about. The pendulums need to give you something to help you to feel as though your efforts are worthwhile and you get that small reward. But then after that is when the pendulum stops to give you, it starts giving you less and starts taking more, right? So in my experience, being part of a collective is usually just like this. You get in, you're good to go, you're excited, you're getting energy, you're getting positive reinforcement, and then the pendulum starts to give you less and less, but take more and more, and you get sucked onto a script where you could ultimately be lost entirely, get so far down that script that you don't even see the light of day anymore, right? Pre-script. So it's actually a pretty dangerous deal because your thoughts and actions just become autonomous with what the pendulum is asking you to do. So two versions of a person, either one believing or agreeing that the collective is more important than the individual, and then a version where the individual is seeing, I see myself, I see my reality, my individuality is actually way more valuable than me buying into the collective, right? So real quick, before I get started, I'm going to give you a practical example. My grandfather cannot stand it that I don't watch the news, right? And whenever I go to visit him, the first thing he wants to talk about is all the hot topics and the news. He watches the news all day. And when I say to him, no, I don't do that, he goes, well, Renee, you really should start thinking about other people other than yourself. And this has been an ongoing, a record just on repeat for years now. And I'm like, but why, right? If I was to sit down in front of the news the same way that you do, I would be consumed and I wouldn't be doing things like this. This, I can actually influence my reality in a positive manner. If I'm doing that, what am I influencing? Where is my energy going? Where is my attention? Am I being effective? No, I just got absorbed into the collective script that a lot of people are wrapped up in, and I'm essentially like, my energy is invalidated. I don't have anything to offer, anything to bring that is actually going to help the collective, right? So this is the funny part about it. In thinking more for yourself, you can actually do some good in the world if you can extract yourself from the script that just wants you to adhere to the collective, right? So first version, this is the person that says, which script seems right for me to adhere to? So this obviously is alluding to like all the political differences in the world right now. Some people believe that, certain political parties are right and other ones are wrong. Certain social causes are right. If somebody doesn't think in line with a certain social cause, then they're wrong, right? And the pendulum makes you choose sides. It makes you, with whatever information you have, take a stance, and then once you've taken a stance, you can't agree to any conflicting information, right? You have to buy hook, line, and sinker every bit of information the pendulum feeds you after you have chosen the script, and if you don't, you're a bad person, right? You're a bad person, you're not with this script, and you're doing something wrong. That's what the pendulum wants you to believe. This keeps you in line, right? So if somebody says to you, oh, it's really important that you get in line with the social cause, again, you enter into that script. You initially feel a little bit of, oh, I'm doing good. I'm helping people. I'm part of this cause, right? But then after that, it's like, okay, well, here's some more. And if you don't agree with this, then you're wrong, right? And you've already put yourself into a position where you could really mess yourself up by not adhering to the script, right? So forces you to choose, and you have to kind of choose the right one, right? Or you're going to be a wrong person. So a bad person. So here's 3 points, pretty simple. The first, living collectively means adhering to a script. I already went over that. I really see that's how it is. Now, if it absolutely benefits you in every single aspect of your life, choosing a script that has been sold to you, and you're loving it, and you're feeling great every day, and you are in line with what it is you want to do, you're being effective, you're happy, you're transurfing your reality, then no need to change anything. But if you're not feeling good about your life, you're like, where's my life going? Why don't I have these things that these other people have? Why don't I have my goal? Why don't I have heart and mind coordination? Because you have essentially been diverted from a certain set of scripts that could give you all the things that you feel you're lacking in your external environment, because you bought an external script that does not serve you or your intention. So again, living collectively means adhering to the script. 2, pendulums love to convince us we can do something better as a group. Oh my God, this is so interesting, because in my opinion, as soon as groups form, chaos ensues, and nobody actually gets much done. And I know some people would say, oh, what about the women's lib movement? And what about this movement? And what about that movement? Okay, I see where you're going with that argument, but I wholeheartedly believe that if people just lived their credo, the collective would change regardless, and it would probably be done in a more efficient and effective manner, right? The collective consumes a lot of free energy, and progress is slower, right? So I don't believe that people can do something better as a group. I think if you want to feel free in your life, right? You're all about women's lib. Start living that for yourself right now and assume that state of being, and tune out of all the rest. You're going to be more effective in living it in this moment, right? 3, if it's external, it most likely doesn't serve you. So it's a little bit of a trick statement here, because all scripts are external to us. But again, this gets down to, is it being sold to you? Or is it something, are you being solicited to adhere to this script? The news is asking you, social media is asking you, your family's asking you, your spouse is asking you, or, are you choosing because you're tuned in to how valuable your choice is, you're assessing your environment and what's around you, and you're making the call, you're making the choice. So a little bit of a trick, all scripts are external, but again, the one that's sold to you is probably not going to serve you. The one that you choose is the script that's going to serve you. So here's the positive side of it. This is a person that says, which script will help me to feel more of the reality I choose? So I touched on this just a moment ago. This would be like, okay, I don't want there to be racism anymore, right? Don't tune in to pendulums that are asking you to take a polarized stance on something. This is actually keeping the issue going, because remember, the pendulums don't want to calm the issues. The pendulums want to inflame them. So it's actually a mirage that the pendulum's like, hey, you don't like racism? Come over here and I'm going to show you how we can eradicate this. But in that, it's actually exacerbated. It's actually inflamed. If you don't want to encounter racism in your life, make sure that you're never being racist towards anybody, that you're treating everyone equally, that your thoughts and your actions are in line with that version of reality. And this is going to expand this movement within the collective, but it's the individual that's doing it on their own. The collective isn't really that effective. When you stand back and you take a look at it, it's not really that effective. 2, defying the pendulum's rule, do as I do. You obtain the freedom to choose. Again, when you choose a script that was served to you on a silver platter, when you choose a script that somebody solicited you to buy, you do not have the freedom to choose anything. You have to adhere solely to that script, hook, line, and sinker, all the different parts, because as soon as you step out of line, that pendulum's going to try to correct you, right? Now, if you can refuse do as I do, and you don't allow yourself to adhere to any pendulum that is setting the standards, or at least not any of the really destructive ones, then you obtain the freedom to choose your movements in the alternative space, your thoughts, your actions, all of who you are and what it is that you do. You are free. You do not have to adhere to any set standards whatsoever. You are a free agent. 3, heart and mind will choose a script to serve you. Okay, so this is actually a really interesting point. Next time you feel captivated by information coming in your direction, ask yourself if you're feeling heart and mind coordination about it. Now, there have been great revolutionary thinkers in our history, right? Where someone saw something, Joan of Arc, right? And that was heart and mind coordination to lead something big, right? But she was a leader, and she had heart and mind coordination about her path, even though it was to form a movement. So is what you are tapping into, the information that you're tapping into, trying to hook you, is it activating heart and mind coordination? And are you going to actually make moves? Not just sit and watch the news, not be a passive bystander just making comments on Facebook. Are you going to get out there and actually lead, right? If you feel heart and mind coordination over an issue, get out there and make a difference, right? Absolutely get out there and make a difference. But if it's just your mind or just your heart even, right? We see those dog abuse videos and your heart's like, oh my God, it hurts so bad. I don't want to see that. I wish I could do something to help. And then the mind kicks in and is like, nah, you know, it's kind of, they solicit people for money and you never know if the money's actually going to the cause. And this is, this is not being, there's no cohesiveness between the heart and the mind in certain situations. And sometimes the mind wants to get involved, but the heart's like, nah, I'm not feeling that. So make certain that whatever you're accessing, whatever script is presented to you, whatever script you choose, one that's either being sold to you or solicited, or one that you are like, okay, this is what I'm doing, make certain that your heart and mind are in absolute alignment with this script, because this again is your freedom to choose. You're the one that's fueling your own thing with that heart and mind coordination. Navigation is so much easier, and getting caught up in the pendulum snare is essentially, it's non-existent, right? So heart and mind coordination, choosing your script, making certain that you're not being convinced that you need to be part of a collective or a movement and you're just a puppet on puppet strings, but making certain that it's what you want to do and your heart and your mind are both saying yes. So let me know your thoughts on this one, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And thank you for watching my video. Bye, guys.